In this section, I'm going to show you examples of OSPF routing protocol, and for this, first of all, I have removed EIGRP from every router using the no router EIGRP and the S number command, and that's the only command that you need to remove EIGRP process. And the second thing I want to do is this. First of all, I want to put every router in just one area, and that's going to be area 0. And after that, when we saw the database, the effect of neighborship on different areas and such things, I will start putting the routers in different areas, and I will show you how the database will look like after having multiple areas in your network. So first of all, I need to put every router in just one area. I start configuration by going to router 1, and you can see that router 1 has a frame relay connection and 2 different LAN connection. Let's go to router 1 first, and by going to configuration mode, I will start the router OSPF and the process number, and you can see that process number is not significant in in creating the neighborship. The routers do not check for the process number whenever they are creating the neighborship, but other factors are considered, such as authentication type. MTU is very important in OSPF process, and the other things are area number and type of these things. I'm going to talk about everything in detail in later sections, but let's go and start configuration. You can add interfaces to OSPF process in 2 ways. The first way is the old way, that is the network command. I can use the network command and add a wildcard mask, and using these two, I can tell that which interfaces are included in OSPF process. And of course, I should tell that this network is going to be in this area. And the second option, that is newer and the preferred one, is putting the OSPF command under interface configuration. So in IPv6 you have only this option, you do not have the network option, but here you can add using networks. And of course you should know that some switches such as 3550s do not support OSPF configuration under interface. So I use the old-fashioned command network, and first of all I need to know which interfaces are on my router. Show IP interface brief command will tell me. Now I will start using the network command, and as I previously told you, I'm going to give exact interface numbers, IP numbers, and add a 0000 wildcard mask to them. And the next thing is the area number that I'm going to put everything in here. So because I'm going to have only one area, I will name this area 0. Whenever you have only one area, the area number is not important, but when you go to create multiple areas, one area that is the most important area and is going to be the backbone area should be numbered 0. So this is the area 0, and everything is going to be in backbone area, so I put this in area 0. And the next thing is adding the serial interface, that is 10.0. Of course, I guess I gave the wrong network number. This is going to be 10.0.16.1, and network 10.0.0.1 0000 in area 0, and the network 10.0.12 1 is going to be in area 0, and the last thing is the loopback interface, and it is going to be in area 0. Now that I have put everything in router configuration, let's get out of configuration mode and check some verification commands results. First thing I want to know is which interfaces are present here in OSPF process. So using show IP OSPF interfaces in brief, you can see that I have 4 interfaces contributing in OSPF, and the process number for all of these are 1. Every interface is in area 0, and you can see the interfaces and the masks of those interfaces. Now you can see a cost value here. The cost value is calculated using the bandwidth. So the reference bandwidth is going to be 100,000 bits per second. That is going to be, no, 100,000 kilobits per second, of course. That's going to be 100 megabits per second. So every interface that is working in 100 megabits per second is going to have a cost of 1. And serial interface is about 1544 kilobits per second. So if you divide 100,000 by 1544, you will receive almost 64. So I will go and change the reference bandwidth to change the cost in a network that has a very high speed, but here it is okay to have this reference bandwidth there. Now you can see that some of the interfaces have state of lookback. This is not going to participate in any neighborship. Some interfaces are in waiting mode. That means they are waiting to receive hello messages from other routers to create a neighborship, like fast01, serial 00. And fast00 is in DR state. That means it has created a neighbor, or it is the first interface in Ospf process. So I'm going to talk about this designator router or other states in detail in later sections. So the second thing that I need to check is this. First of all, before going to the second command, check this one, neighbors. You can see that there is 0 neighbor expected, and from this 0 neighbor expected, 0 neighbor is created. You can see that 0 by 0 means I haven't heard hello from any neighbor, so this is 0, and I haven't created neighborship with any of them. This is again 0, and I'm going to check this in later section. So let's go to show IP Ospf neighbors, and using show IP Ospf neighbor, you can see that there is no neighbor right now because I haven't configured Ospf in any of the other routers. So the last one is show IP protocol, and this is a very nice and handy command whenever you create a routing process. You can see that the Ospf number is here, the Ospf process number is here, and you can see the networks that contribute in Ospf process. That means in routing table you will see these networks for Ospf, and of course in routing database. And of course you can see that there is a gateway interface here, and the distance is 110, and the default distance is 110 because I haven't changed this. So let's go to router 2 and start configuring this. If I go to configuration mode, I can start router Ospf, and I want to has this number 1 because this is the easiest thing that I remember. So let's see which interfaces are in IP interface brief. On this router you can see these interfaces here. Now the first thing that I want to do is this, add in the network command 10 0 25 2 0 0 0 0, and this is going to area 0. The next thing is 10.0.0.2, and this is also in area 0. Network 110.1.2.2 is in area 0. And the last thing, and I want you to pay attention to what happens whenever I add this network command, is network 10.0.12.2.0.0.0.0, and it is in area 0. Now you can see that this network is in area 0 and it has a common subnet with router 1. So whenever I hit enter, after a while I can see that the neighborship is created between these two routers, and it tells that I have changed the state from loading to full, and loading is complete. That means I have exchanged my database with the other neighbor, and you can see that this is an adjacency change message. The severity number is 5, and this is an Ospf message that is created in this time. So I want to check the verification commands again on this router. So if I go to show IP interfaces brief, of course IP OSPF interfaces brief, you can see that I have heard hello from one neighbor, and I have right now one neighbor created. That means I am not expecting to create any more neighbors here. And the other ones, one of them is in waiting process, and the others are such. You can see that this is backup designated router. That means I am in a situation that if DR is lost, I will go and take that role. So I'm going to talk about this, in detail in later sections. So the next thing that I want to check is this: show IPOSPF neighbor command. And you can see that I have created a neighbor. The priority of this neighbor is 1. The state is full. That means I have exchanged my database with this neighbor. This neighbor is taking the designated role, designated router's role, and its address is 10.0.12.1, and it is on my fast Ethernet 0.1 interface. So I have created neighborship with this router, and you can see this information here. Now that I have created this, I'm going to create neighborships in other routers. On router 3, let's check the IP interfaces in brief, and now I go to router OSPF 1 and add networks 10.0.36.3 to area 0 and 10.0.0.3 and network 110.133, and I'm not going to put the backbone area in this process. I'm going to add another process for that. So this is going to be in area 0. Now I've created everything here. Let's go to switch 1, show IP interfaces in brief, and I'm going to exclude unassigned interfaces. Now I go to configuration mode and router OSPF process, and it is going to be router OSPF process 1, network 10.0.25.5, and you can expect a neighborship created right now. Now this is done, and network 110.155.0.0.0 in area 0. Now I'm going to switch to and do the same configuration. Router OSPF 1 and show IP interfaces in brief and exclude the unassigned ones. You can see that I have 3 interfaces here, so I add all of them. 10.0.16, 6 in area 0, 36.6 in area 0, and 110.166 in area 0. So I have created every I have added every network to OSPF process. Now let's go to router 1 and check the neighborship here. Show IP OSPF interfaces brief is my favorite commands because I can see that on which interfaces I have received hellos and how many neighbors I have created here. You can see that on fast 00 and fast 01 I have received hello messages. On serial interface I have not created any neighborship, and I'm going to talk about this in next section.